Listen, this is really a failure. While Donald Trump is assuring everyone that he has practically made a mega deal with Iran and that Iran has supposedly even agreed to dispose of nuclear material, in Tehran they have already openly stated that they have caught the United States of America in a trap. In Iran, they said that Trump was not ready for a prolonged war, and then Tehran stated that the current war is the final stage of the confrontation with the US, which has lasted for 47 years. In response, Donald Trump stated that the US is conducting constructive negotiations with Iran on a new nuclear deal, which will definitely be better than the one signed by Barack Obama. However, according to Trump, the American side is deliberately not rushing to sign the document since time is on their side. And what do you think Donald Trump did? That's right. Donald Trump gave Iran another week to sign at least the memorandum. Although it should be noted that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has already stated that the U.S. will consider alternative options regarding Iran if diplomatic efforts to resolve the nuclear issue do not yield results. In general, let's discuss what stage the negotiations are at now regarding ending the war in the Middle East and signing a truly peaceful agreement and, importantly, a nuclear deal. My name is Pechiy. Let's discuss this topic together, but before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel like this episode, leave any comment under this video, and subscribe to my Telegram channel Pechiy News. The link to it is in the description of this video. So, the Donald Trump administration stated that Iran allegedly agreed to dispose of its highly enriched uranium during negotiations with the US. A White House official reported this to CBS News. The US believes that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Mahtabah MNI, has allegedly already approved such a deal. But the question of whether the deal will actually take place still remains open. The official White House spokesperson also says that even before Operation Epic Fury, the Iranian system was, quote, depressingly slow and opaque. And since then, the situation has gotten worse, which is why everything is taking so long. That's why Trump is giving them more time, another week for the Iranians. As for the framework deal, its final approval will require a few more days. The official said that the almost finalized agreement would be a two-step process, namely the immediate opening of the Hormuz Strait, in exchange for lifting the American blockade, which will be followed by negotiations on a mechanism that will allow Iran to abandon various parts of its nuclear program. According to the official, the US wants Iran to commit to disposing of highly enriched uranium and to address other nuclear issues. Well, I'll probably keep quiet about the fact that Donald Trump not so long ago said that they would take this enriched uranium for themselves. He said, "I will make sure that the US takes all of Iran's enriched uranium onto its own territory." So does it turn out that the American president was just making empty promises again? They won't take it anymore, now they're going to dispose of it? And here it is. The official also noted that the Trump administration will consider this agreement more beneficial than the one reached in 2015 under former President Barack Obama, which allowed uranium enrichment up to a certain level, although once again there isn't anything close to an agreement yet. The White House spokesperson also added that no decisions have been made yet regarding the unfreezing of Iranian assets, but any easing of sanctions will be proportional to Iran's actual compliance with the US requirements concerning Donald Trump's objectives in the field of national security. And here, let me remind you that earlier the White House said that overnight from Saturday into Sunday, US President Donald Trump was supposed to decide whether to continue negotiations with Iran or to resume the war. As a result, Trump stated that the Memorandum of Understanding has been largely agreed upon and only the finalization of details remains. Trump also said that the Strait of Hormuz would be open under this agreement. However, the Iranians later denied this. Trump himself said that the US is holding constructive talks with Iran on a new nuclear deal. However, according to him, the American side is deliberately not rushing to sign the document since time is on their side. According to the American president, the current negotiations with Tehran are proceeding in an orderly manner and are much more professional than the previous ones. He said he has already instructed his representatives at the negotiations, according to Kitretz. Trump, quote, "I told my representatives not to rush the deal while time is on our side. Both sides should not hurry and do everything right. There can be no mistakes. As you can see, all the threats to resume the war turned out to be just empty talk from Donald Trump." At the same time, Trump warned that the current economic blockade against the Islamic Republic of Iran will remain in force until a new agreement is finalized, fully agreed, certified, and signed. Trump also once again emphasized that Washington's position on Iran's nuclear ambitions remains uncompromising. According to him, the Iranian authorities must clearly understand that they will not be allowed to develop or acquire nuclear weapons or a bomb. Trump also critically recalled the previous nuclear deal from the administration of former US President Barack Obama, calling it a direct path for Tehran to create a nuclear arsenal. And once again he assured that his deal will be made. When it will happen and what it will be like, no one knows, but believe me, it will be better. For his part, Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Esmail Pechiy confirmed that there has been some progress in discussing a potential memorandum of understanding with the US. However, according to him, this does not yet indicate that a final agreement will be signed soon. The Iranian official noted that Tehran is currently focused on negotiations to end the war, and crucially is not conducting any discussions on nuclear issues. In addition, the Iranian Foreign Ministry accused American officials of changing their positions, which in their opinion creates additional obstacles to reaching an agreement. But a member of Iran's National Security Council, Mohsen Rezai, went even further and stated that by starting a war in Iran, the US has trapped itself in a situation it cannot escape from. Here is his quote. They planned for the war to last only 4 or 5 days, and in the most pessimistic scenario they said it wouldn't last more than 15 days. Well, I'll add here that Trump said 4 weeks at most. I'll continue the quote. This thief who broke into the house in Iran got trapped in the Strait of Hormuz while trying to escape. They were not prepared for a prolonged war. Rezai called the current war the final stage of the 47-year confrontation with the US, referring to the period since the monarchy's overthrow and the Ayatollah's rise. And he suggested that its outcome will determine Iran's future for the next 50 years. He also added, quote, "Our finger is on the trigger and Iran is ready to resume the battle." In addition, let me remind you, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps publicly stated that the Hormuz Strait will remain open. But Iran will have full control over it and will charge a fee for the passage of all ships, even though the US will be against it. And let me remind you, before the war, Iran did not have such a luxury. And what does Donald Trump do in this situation? Donald Trump gives Iran a week to finally sign the agreement. According to him, the framework agreement between the US and Tehran is 95% agreed upon. And here I want to give you just one example where Trump also claimed 95% readiness. If I were him, I wouldn't use that phrase at all. He already got burned by it once. On December 29, 2025, Trump, after meeting with Zelensky and discussing the end of Russia's war against Ukraine, stated, and I quote, "We have made great progress in ending this war, someone might say 95%. In the matter of providing security guarantees for Ukraine, we have also made 95% progress. And now 5 months have passed, and as you can see, unfortunately, there has been no end to the war in Ukraine. That's why Trump needs to be more careful with statements about 95%. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and don't forget to like. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so with any donation using the links and details in the description of this video or by using the QR code on your screen. I would appreciate any support from you. That's all for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.